Hi, thank you for coming today. My name's Donna Rosenblum. I'm the dietitian here at Elmark. And we have a team of people that have been working together for a couple weeks now, and we've put together a whole new feeding program for our residents. You guys are the first house we're rolling this out in, and we want you to be patient with the program. It's quite different. But basically, it's a new 5-week cycle, just like we were working with the cycle before. But it includes a lot more diets so that we can adjust the diets for the needs of the clients that are coming in here at Elmark. So we're going to do, today is all about educating you on the program. And please feel free to stop me if you have any questions along the way. This is informal, and I don't want you to walk away with any questions, okay? Okay. So let's start with this. We have these 3 binders that are going to be in your kitchen. Eating precaution plans for each client that have all their specific needs on it for their diets, what they like and don't like. That is not changing, okay? That's going to be there. But what is changing is the other 2 binders. This binder begins with a week at a glance is the first thing. So if you look at this, there's columns, and each column is a different day. Okay, so we start here with Monday, and we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And on to Tuesday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In the binder, you'll have 5 of these. So this is what we would call week 1. And then you'll have 4 others after this, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And we're trying to vary some of the things, like these clients have been on the same menu for a little too long, so that you'll see new menu items. And there's going to be questions, but we have recipes in these books for you to follow for the new, all the new foods. So as you go through this binder, you'll see this is Monday, and you have the recipes for Monday, okay? And then you go on to the next one, and you have recipes for Tuesday, okay? So that you can look. We're going to have new shopping lists, and the shopping lists look like this. And you'll have a new shopping list for each week going along with the new menu, okay? So far, any questions? No? No? Okay. So, that's a big glance. Okay, this is kind of where things really get different. This is a new setup called a spreadsheet for the diets. And I want to explain to you the way to read it so that you can understand. I know you only have purees, mechanicals, and regulars, house menus and this, but there are other diets in case you were to get a new admission or you go to work in a different house. So I'll explain all of them to you briefly. So the way this reads, it is in conjunction with this. It starts over here, and this is the resident dining. Okay, so that's anybody who's a regular diet or a house diet. We use different terms, but anybody who doesn't have any restrictions on their diet. This top portion here, all the way across, this is breakfast, okay? So this is breakfast for the house diet. This is lunch for the house diet, and this is dinner for the house diet, okay? Then we move into, if you look at the upper column here, it says puree. So this is going to be very similar foods to the house diet, but just in a puree consistency. Okay? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the purees. This is mechanical soft. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is CCD. I don't think you have any in this house, but that's a carb-controlled diet. We use this for any of our patients who are pre-diabetic, who need to be on a little healthier eating plan, or people who need weight loss, okay? So the portion sizes in this diet are a little different, okay? But we'll get into where to read the portion sizes next. But that's what this is, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the CCD, or the carb-controlled diet. Then we move to the second page, and we have the gluten-frees. Those are people who can't eat certain products like rye, barley, wheat in their diet. So you'll see that their cereal is often different. A lot of times we eliminate bread products, baked products, gravies, things, there's hidden gluten in gravies, that's why we avoid it. Anything that would have gluten in it, you don't have to guess what has gluten in it, you just have to look and see what is written here. And it does change from the residential or house diet, okay? But these items will be on your shopping list and you'll have them available, okay? Then we have the sodium restricted diets, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't have anybody on sodium right now. And then this is the casein free. That's anybody who can't have any dairy products from allergies, okay? So obviously we change cheese and milk and different things like that for them. Or any products that would contain milk or cheese and baking or making process. So we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner for casein. And that is one day, okay? So then we move on to another day, okay? So that would be Tuesday, and it's the same setup, okay? You have 2 pages for Tuesday, same for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And they're all right here. So that would be all of week 1. Then next week we're gonna put in week 2, okay? Until we get up to week 5, and then start over again, okay? Any questions about that so far, about the setup? Okay. So basically in this house, you're going to be working in these 3 columns, okay? Because they're the diets you presently have, mechanical, Purite, and residential house. So the next thing we have to look at is the portions, and the portions are written alongside here, okay? So if a resident gets orange juice for breakfast, they're going to get 4 fluid ounces of orange juice, and then we're going to buy you little juice cups. We're going to buy all new stuff for your kitchen so that you have everything you need, okay? So you'll have juice cups. So you won't have to measure it in a measuring cup or anything. You just fill a juice cup. That's going to be 4 ounces. Then you have old-fashioned oatmeal, and that's going to be 6-ounce ladle. And a little later on in the in-service, we're going to show you all the labels and how to measure it out, okay? Because they're all specifically measured so that you know how much to put in their cereal bowl, okay? And then they're going to have a baked cheese omelet, and that's just 1 omelet there, okay? Then we move on to the resident dining for lunch, and they're going to have a salad. So it says a garden salad with tomatoes and cucumbers, okay? So it says 1 salad, and we're going to talk a little later about how to measure out what 1 salad is, but you'll have a specific salad bowl, and you'll put about 3/4 of it as lettuce, and then put cucumbers and the tomatoes on the top for this one. And I have Italian dressing. That's one of the things that you can change as you need to for resident preferences, as long as somebody doesn't have a specific dietary need. The CCD, the carb control, is going to need a lighter or a lower calorie salad dressing. Okay, so I always have either oil and vinegar on here or a low calorie dressing. And you're going to have those in your fridge. So if you were ever to have anybody on this diet, then you would have to use a low calorie dressing. And then if you got somebody who was casein free here, you're going to want to make sure that there's no dairy in it, so they're not going to have like a blue cheese dressing or something like that. They're going to have more the Italian or the oil and vinegar type. Okay. And the gluten-free, again, we're going to get gluten-free dressings, gluten-free Italian, or a lot of times we just give them oil and vinegar on their salad. Okay? But that's something that you can change in this house. Like if everyone in this house doesn't like Italian, you can do ranch. Yeah. You can do another dressing. Okay? So as long as you're still in these 3 columns, you're okay. You don't have to think about the other dietary restrictions. Okay? So, then the house diet would have a hamburger patty, so it's 1 patty with 1 bun, on a bun, and then it says vegetarian baked beans, and it says 4 ounces. Okay, so it's telling you specifically what to give them, and then they're going to have some sliced fresh tomatoes, and then they're going to have 1 piece of fresh fruit for dessert. Okay?
That's for lunch.
This is lunch.
Okay.
And then we would move down to dinner. And it says they're getting a tomato, mozzarella, caprese salad. They're getting a baked chicken tenders, and the portion is 3 tenders. Let's see, it says 3 tenders. Mixed vegetables, 4 ounces. Okay. They're going to have fries, another 4 ounces. and another piece of fresh fruit for dessert. Okay? So that would be a residence dining for that one day of week 1 on Monday. So if you look over into the purees, they're again getting the same 4 ounces of orange juice. So puree, you're going to read the portions right here. Okay? So they're getting the orange juice, 4 ounces. They're getting the oatmeal. They're getting 4 ounces. They're getting scrambled eggs instead of the omelet, because that's easier, right? Scrambled eggs pureed. And then they'll have a number 16 scoop. And again, we're going to go over the scoops, okay? But it tells you the portion there. Then you go down to their lunch. Now they can't eat a hamburger or bun, so they're going to have the hamburger patty pureed, and we're going to add brown gravy to it. We always want to keep pureed food very moist for the swallowing. They're going to have pureed baked beans. They're going to have pureed tomatoes, and they're going to have a banana for their dessert. Okay. So it's similar but a little different just because of the way it is, you know, for the puree. The mechanical soft, again, they're having the orange juice, 4 ounces. They're having oatmeal, 6 ounces. They're having the cheese omelet, the chopped up, 1 omelet. Okay? Then you go, let's go one that's different. So say you get a casein-free person comes in. They're going to have the orange juice, the oatmeal, but see how it says they have a plain omelet? Okay, because they can't have that cheese on the omelet, right? So you have to look specifically to see what they're having. Or if you look over here to the glutens, they can't have the oatmeal because it has the oats. So we have corn checks on for them. Okay? So you can see where the differences are in the breakfast. Okay? Let's see, another difference. So the gluten-frees with the hamburger for lunch, they're going to have the hamburger patty, but they're not going to have the roll. See how the roll's left off there? Okay? A lot of times also, another difference is with the carb control portions, as I was mentioning before, because we want to watch their carbohydrates. So since we gave them a seasoned bun, we're giving them a little less of the baked beans, because the baked beans are also carbohydrates. So if you look here, it says 2 ounces. Okay? Whereas the residents, the house diet is getting 4 ounces. So they're going to get a half portion of that. See the difference there? So like I said, you don't have any of these right now, but should somebody be admitted or their diet changes, that's something you're going to have to know how to do, to look at this and read the portion sizes for them. Okay? All right? Any questions on that so far? Okay. Let's look at one more meal. We'll look at dinner. So we looked at the chicken tenders for the resident dining. Now we'll look at the tomato mozzarella salad. That doesn't puree up well for the purees. So we're giving them instead applesauce. Exactly. Okay? And they're going to have their chicken tenders, but they're going to be pureed. And the puree is often given in a scoop size just because we're going to use like ice cream scoopers, okay, to measure out the food. They're going to have mashed potatoes, okay, instead of the fries, and mixed vegetables pureed, okay. One thing that we have, we're going to put a sheet in here. One thing we have to be careful with, are any of your purees on thickened liquids? So our speech therapist is going to speak a little bit more about that, but this ice cream that we have on for dessert here, you have to be careful if anything melts to a liquid that's not thickened, like ice cream, sherbet, Jell-O. So we're going to use Magic Cup instead for those residents, okay? But we'll have a sheet in here for you to refer to about that, all right? But if you do have any purees that are on thickened liquids, you have to make sure whatever your puree is not too thin for them. Okay? Do we understand this?
Yeah.
No questions? Portion sizes?
So the same thing as here, the same thing.
This sheet matches this sheet.
Okay.
And that's for week 1. You'll
Okay.
get another week 2, and that'll match when you're on week 2. You'll have a new week 2 in here. We're presently working on that.
Okay.
Okay? So, and we're hoping to put some new variety of foods on, because I know our clients have gotten kind of bored of the old menu too.
Yeah.
So the next thing, the only thing that's not on here that I do want to specify is that we don't have milk on here for each meal, but I'd like you to offer milk at all meals for the clients.
It's actually it's on everyone's protocol.
Okay.
The EPPs is
Okay,
on,
so if it's on there, it's not written on here, so I just wanted you to know that that's definitely the beverage that we should be offering is milk. Okay? And you can go by your clients. I don't believe that anybody, except over children's, needs whole milk right now. Usually after the age of 3, you don't need whole milk. So whatever they like, 2%, skim, whatever you've been buying is fine. Okay? All right. The next thing we need to look at is the meal alternates, because you used to have like a second page in yours that said what the alternate was. So we're kind of going to do it by the week. Okay, so this is week 1's alternates. You'll have an alternate for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, breakfast is not going to change much. Okay, so if hot cereal's on and they don't like it, the alternate's cold cereal, and vice versa. They don't like cold cereal, they can have hot cereal. Okay, that's not going to change. For the proteins, so if we have eggs or omelets, you can interchange with yogurt. That would be the protein alternate for that, for the breakfast meal, okay? And if you have yogurt on and they don't like that, and you scramble them an egg, that's good. Okay, so that's kind of interchangeable. Hash browns are alternates for everyone except gluten-frees, because they can't have the hash browns. But if you were to have toast on and they don't like toast and you need a carbohydrate alternate, you can use hash browns. Fruit juices and pieces of fruit are interchangeable. So if somebody doesn't like the juice and they want an apple or want a banana, that can be their fruit for breakfast, okay? Vice versa. If we have mandarin oranges on and they don't like them, you can give them an apple juice, okay? So that's how we interchange so that we make sure we do a fruit for fruit. I would try not to give them juice all the time for the actual piece of fruit, because they really do need the fiber for bowel movements and stuff like that. It's important for our clients to get the fiber from real fruit. So encourage that as much as you can, because that's what they miss out on when they get the juice. Okay. For lunch for this week, we're going to have specific things that are going to be on your shopping list or be in the house for week 1. We're going to have chicken salad and ham as our alternates for sandwiches. Okay. They don't like what's on. They don't want a hamburger. They can have a ham sandwich. They can have a chicken salad sandwich. Okay, so that's on whole grain bread. So, and unless it's a gluten-free, which again you don't have any, but you would give them the chicken salad and a sweet potato, because they can't have the bread. Okay, so the gluten, we're not. They have gluten-free bread on the market, but at this point in time, we're not trying to scramble things too much. So we're just trying to eliminate the one bread that we buy. In the future, if you have a gluten-free person, we might be able to buy them gluten-free bread. It just gets a little hairy when someone's gluten-free. You can't use the same toaster with regular bread as gluten-free bread, because the gluten-free bread would pick up from the others. So it gets a little hairy, and we don't want to give you like 2 toasters, 2 this, and that. So at this point in time, we're substituting another starch that they can use. So sweet potato is something they can have. Okay. Vegetables, the alternates this week are going to be broccoli or a green salad as an alternate for a vegetable. Okay. And the alternate for the starch is, again, sweet potato for anybody. Okay. The desserts were, for this week, we're going to do fresh fruit or ice cream. If you have somebody on a carb control, it has to be a sugar-free ice cream, a low-fat, sugar-free ice cream. And the casein-free, because they can't have dairy, cannot have ice cream, so you can give them only the fruit as their alternate, okay? So the breakfast and the desserts aren't going to change a lot. This lunch dinner alternate is going to change week to week considerably, so that next week it might be tuna salad and a turkey sandwich instead of ham and chicken salad.
Okay, but with the lunch, however, because they do have lunch on day program.
Right. So this would apply more for the weekends when you have them, or if,
So basically, like I would say on the weekdays, we just discard.
Right. What's nice about this is that you're going to see what they were having for lunch. So this is what they're having in program.
Oh,
So you'll know what they had for lunch. So we're trying to keep it consistent throughout the campus. We have a lot of menus floating around right now, and we're trying to keep it consistent so that everybody knows what everybody's having, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then everybody's on the same 5-week cycle. So you're absolutely right. Unless the clients are home for a day, if there's no program, hopefully we'll have more snow days. But you never know if they're going to be home. But obviously you have the weekends. And we're also going to continue the resident's choice. We're going to try to pick one day of the week that we're going to do resident's choice, and that food just won't be ordered for that meal. But certain houses do other days, so we had to do obviously every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that everyone has something to go by. Okay, so that's the alternates. That was the alternates. The other thing it's going to be in your book, just as a reference to you, we have some clients who have specific things on their EPPs, like encourage iron-rich foods or encourage high-fiber foods. Okay, these are just lists for you so that you know the type of foods you should be encouraging for those clients. Because sometimes you'll see that on their EPP and you may not know what to give them. Okay, so it's pretty explanatory which fruits are high in fiber. It'll say here, to encourage dried fruits or high in iron, dried fruits and raisins and all these dried ones, tomato juice, different things that you can encourage in their meal plan if they need iron-rich foods. Okay. The other thing that we're moving towards is having holiday meals. So if you're going through your week and it's Sunday and it's Easter Sunday, we're not going to necessarily have this lunch dinner. We're going to have a specific Easter meal. Okay? And that we're going to do as we roll out. We'll probably do 4th of July and Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas and the biggies. And you'll have in this binder eventually by the end of the year specific menus for the holidays. And again, that'll come up on your shopping list, and so that the clients are not, eating turkey the day before Thanksgiving and then hamburgers on Thanksgiving. We don't want that. So we're gonna do that too. Okay. Any questions?
no.
It's going to be an adjustment process. There's a lot of people around to support you. Any questions you have, you can ask the house managers, and anytime we make a change, there's a period of confusion and questions, and this isn't working, that's not working, let us know. We can change things along the way. If certain menu items aren't working, clients don't like them, let us know, okay? And we can change it, all right? Because they're our number one, and that's what we're trying to do, is encourage them to have good, healthy meals, okay? I think I said the recipes are back here, those recipes for each day, okay? And again, you'll have that for all 5 weeks. You're gonna have some binders in here. I don't know if the house managers are gonna switch them out and just put the week out that you're working on, so there's no confusion, and then take that away and put the next week out. I'm not sure how each house manager is gonna do that, but everything will be in your kitchen, okay? So 3 binders. This one with all the weeks, this one with the week at a glance, the menus, these kind of sheets, the alternates, and then the binder with EPPs, which are specific to each resident.
I know, it's a lot of information, isn't it? So I don't know if I've got to meet everyone here, most of you have, but my name's Lindsay, and I'm the speech-language pathologist here for the ICF. What I specialize in is treating feeding and swallowing disorders. We also call that dysphagia, which is, the definition is that you have trouble swallowing. The 2 things that can happen when you have trouble swallowing are choking and aspiration. So choking, we all kind of know, right? Food blocks the airway and you can't breathe, you can't cough, you can't do anything. So that's when most of the time you're going to have to do your 5 back blows and your 5 abdominal thrusts to get the material out. And then aspiration is another effect that can happen if you have trouble swallowing. So what happens is food can go down the wrong way, and it can go into your lungs, and that's what aspiration is. When food goes into your lungs, it can sit at your lung bases and grow bacteria, and then you can develop pneumonia. A lot of times our individuals are pretty medically fragile, so if they get pneumonia, this means they're going to the hospital for an extended period of time, and in some rare cases, even death. So it's very, very serious. Aspiration, choking, these are like serious medical things that we can try to avoid. So ways that we treat, and modify the environment is through diet texture changes. Melmark has 4 diet textures here. We have regular, chopped, mechanical soft, and puree. So you guys are already kind of familiar with those because you're doing them every day, I'm hoping or assuming most of you guys are. So I just want to go over and review each specific diet. This is going to be something that's in your binder. I think it's already in here. It's just gotta find the page. Take a look. So these diet modifications, like I said, are very important, and we're going to just review the 4. So the very first one is a regular texture diet. It's just the way the food is, right? We don't do anything to it. Most of the time this means that someone can cut their own food, they have no trouble chewing, no trouble swallowing. That's the regular texture. Probably something that you're on right now. You probably eat regular textured food. There's no limitations to that. A chopped texture food is cutting food up into small pieces, about a ½ inch to 1 inch in size. So what I like to point out here are these pictures that we have. I think these really show you a good representation of the difference between the diet textures. Because the regular here, you don't have to cut the green beans, you don't have to cut the meat. Chopped, it's chopped, but it's not so fine like the mechanical soft. So you can really see the difference between those 2 diets. So the mechanical soft food is chopped even further than the chopped food, right? So it's smaller than ½ inch in diameter. A lot of times with mechanical softs, you have to soften it with more liquid. So it needs to be like a moist mechanical soft. Things like gravies or condiments and ketchup and broth or anything that can moisten it. The good rule of thumb is to do a fork mashable test. So you should be able to cut the meat with the side of the fork, and you should be able to push the vegetables and the fruits down with the fork. A really great naturally mechanical soft texture is a banana. Think about a banana, right? And once it's out of its peel, you can mash that down really fine. You can cut it if you want to chop it. So that's kind of the consistency we're going to be going for our mechanical soft. And there's another point there that says to, just to make sure that the meats, because you might have to put that into the blender, like something like a pork chop. I don't think that you're ever going to be able to cut that down so that it's mechanically softened, right? That food just can't possibly be mechanically softened. So you have to put it into the blender for a little bit just to kind of pulse it, to get it down. The puree textured food is our most restrictive diet here, and normally is only for the people who really cannot chew, have a lot of difficulty swallowing. So it's critical that we follow this diet texture. You have to use the blender. You have to use that food processor with the addition of the liquid. So you can't just throw the meats into the blender and hope that it comes out puree. You're going to need to put broth in it or water or something to kind of moisten it so that it becomes a smooth, cohesive texture. And you can see in that picture right there, that is a smooth, cohesive puree. Much different than the mechanical soft, right? It's not smooth, it has lumps and bumps, so. The one thing with puree that you need to know too is that you're going to have to process each food separately, okay? Don't put the whole meal into one blender and blend it. No one wants to eat all their food at the same time. I like to eat things separately, so we need to offer that, okay? So each food needs to be processed separately. And a good rule of thumb for the puree If you see the individual chewing, it is not a puree diet. You should not have to chew at all. It should be able to go into your mouth and you should just be able to swallow it. Okay? It's a pretty good rule of thumb for the purees. Do you have any questions regarding the diet textures?
Just one thought.
Yep.
Is finely chopped considered the same as mechanical salt? Because that's what we have on our diet.
Finely chopped. Would that be our chopped diet is what you were going for?
So we kind of put in under mechanical that everybody would be, that it would be chopped. I think we're just gonna have to,
I'll have to
that's,
review
so
it.
it was covering two, kind of the mechanical and the chop. I think that's gonna be more for client tolerance maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to review it to make sure, but typically, what is he being served now?
Well, right now we use the
Chop.
chop with mechanical salt, but we basically use the food processor to make sure it's, softened up. But exactly, we just want to make sure it's the same texture.
Right, so is it
'Cause
coming?
we have two folks. We have two individuals who's on chopped,
Mhm.
and here's one person who's on finely chopped.
Oh, okay.
So basically, what we've been doing is make sure that we use the food processor.
So almost like the mechanical salt
Yeah.
is what it comes out to. Okay, so I'll make sure to review that and update the terminology so that we're all kind of consistently on the same page. Because it says finely chopped, I would agree that it would probably go to the mechanical salt section because this chopped is less than a half an inch in diameter. So, and to be safe, I would rather him have a little bit of a more restrictive diet than too much of an advanced diet without clearance, okay? So, but we don't want to long-term restrict anyone because it's their quality of life and I don't want to eat mechanical salt if I don't have to eat mechanical salt. So, we'll get some clarification for that. Thank you for bringing that up.
I have a question. Sometimes,
Yeah.
the chop, if the food is too hard, like, if you want to do a mechanical chop, we can do that too, right? Like, instead of we have like a pork chop, I know I can't chop it up for them to eat it. I have to.
Right, but chopped food can be half an inch to an inch in diameter. So, yeah, right there, it's just that it's cut up, essentially. You're just cutting it up into a bite-sized piece. You don't think you'd be able to chop up a pork chop into a bite-sized
No,
piece?
because I can chop it up, but sometimes they won't be able to like fully chew it. So I'll like soften it up a little bit.
Well, then they're probably not appropriate for that diet texture, and then you would probably want to tell your program manager and tell the,
Yeah.
tell-
Well,
tell
I think the
Delta.
concern was
and then let me know.
it's just that they had steamed vegetable, and I did try it myself. Like it was really hard.
It was hard.
Yeah, so I don't think they were able to chew it, so there was why we go straight down.
So
So,
with the
I don't know
steamed
if it's-
vegetables, did you follow the recipe and you put it in there for the same amount of time?
Yeah.
Because sometimes with the lower diet textures, you can just cook them a little bit more,
Okay, that makes more sense.
right? So it's like when you cook your food, you can make it just a little bit softer, cook it a little longer. And maybe we can speak about that in our next segment a little bit more as well, to kind of go through that.
Okay.
But yeah, these are very important concerns, and this is why we need to make sure we're working together as a team, and you guys are just as much of a team member as we are, because we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, right? So we'll have to make sure we go through, because that chopped diet should be able to chew. They should be able to chew. Really what chopped diet is most of the time, it's that they just need the chewing to be a little bit further, so like they wouldn't get like a big salad with like a big piece of lettuce, because you'd want to just chew it up a little. It's one step less that they have to do in their mouth, so that gives them a little bit more control. And then also for the people who physically can't cut their food. So we have some of our guys who need adaptive equipment, and some of our guys who can't cut the food up, they would sometimes be on a chopped. So that's very important. So we'll have to go through and review those and just make sure that we're giving everyone the appropriate textures, because we don't want to put anyone at risk for, like I said, that choking and aspiration. Because even if you don't hear anything, and even if you don't see choking, aspiration can be silent, aspiration can be happening while they're eating and us not know. And we don't want to put our individuals in harm's way, okay? So that's the diet textures. I briefly mentioned that there are some adaptive equipment. These are just kind of the frequently used ones. It's something that'll be in your binder so you can look at and see why someone uses it. If it is prescribed though, it needs to be used at every meal because that is a doctor's order that this needs to be happening. So that's just another thing I like to hit on. Yeah, I don't have an extra printer for that one, sorry. And then, do you have any questions with that? No? Yeah, they're pretty familiar to you guys now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's, you guys are using all of this stuff anyways. You don't use the
everything
ankle.
else.
Yeah. So, you know, you guys are using them, you're integrating them into their ECPs now anyways, so. One thing that Donna had mentioned was the alternative for some of the people on thickened liquids. So if they're on a thickened liquid, they can't have ice cream or Jell-O or anything that's frozen like this that can melt down to a thin liquid in your mouth. So we're going to start bringing some, these are called Magic Cups. And what these do is when you're eating them, they don't melt in your mouth. They are a little bit thicker and they don't turn into a thin liquid. So, and then when you leave them out, they'll turn into a pudding. So it melts down to like a pudding consistency. And they're very cool, but they have extra calories and proteins in them. So it'll be listed as an alternative into the menus, okay? But yeah, Magic Cups, they're good. I don't know if you've ever had Halo Top ice cream. They're a new brand out, but it's kind of like that. It's like a little thicker. You kind of have to munch it a little more. All right, do you guys have any questions? Pretty straightforward, right?
I'm Hans. I am the kitchen manager. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well. So I'm going to go over portion sizes, temperatures, sanitation, how to help you read the menus, all that kind of fun stuff. How's everything going so far as questions? There's a lot at once here, so you guys grasping everything pretty good so far?
Yeah.
The best you can? Alright. So. Alrighty. So, these right here are to control the portion sizes that are on the menus right here. So, as Donna said before, when you go to look at these, over next to every category, it'll have what is designated portion size. Obviously, with the EPPs, if they're looking for double portions, you give them 2 or whatever, or if they get seconds of that kind of stuff, always give them, you know, the same kind of thing as a portion size. So, let's see. Here we go. So in the puree spot right here, it says a number 10 scoop. They're still coming in. Actually, they should be here Monday, but whenever it says like a number, whatever, number 12, number 10, number 16, that's these. You will always see the number right on that little tab there. See how it says 16 right there? That's how you always know. You see that number 16? So each one is color coded. It has numbers right there on every one of these scoops. So that's how you know which scoop to use. Make sure that this stuff is in here as well. Alright, so portion sizes, this is all standard. Same thing here. There's little cheat sheets in the back of all these binders. So if you ever have any questions, we can kind of forget to look there or whatever. Everything's going to be color coded, and it'll also have, you know, what the scoop size is, what it goes out into ounces. So if you need 4 ounces and these are dirty, like all your spoodles are dirty or something, you need to use a scoop, you can go in here and be like, okay, 4 ounces is a number 8. You can use that scoop to kind of go with whatever's on the menu as well. These things are called spoodles, right? I
What?
bought a bunch. Spoodles. So this, you always know what size the spoodle is. It'll always have it right on the top, which is the 4-ounce spoodle. So wherever you see 4 ounces, let's say like baked fries, with the mixed vegetables, 4-ounce spoodle, this is what you would use. But you would, like, because you've got the boil, you'd use one with the slide thing to get all the water out. This is what your mixed vegetable spoodle would be used for. Okay. Also, with things like baked fries and salads, I have another kind of measuring cup coming in, where it's like a little longer and flatter. So it'll say like 4 ounces. It'll be a lot easier to read as well. But so like salads, you measure out your 4 ounces in like this measuring cup that I'll have for you on Monday. Same thing with like fries. It says 4 ounces of fries. You use the same kind of measuring thing, not a spoon. It's a little different way of measuring. Now I do have to. I think Lindsay took out sanitation sheets in here. But once again, like, you know, there's another one in the front here for portion sizes. It says, you know, what the most common, you know, portion sizes of things are. So, you know, if you're just looking for a cheap sheet, you're doing scrambled eggs and stuff in the morning because you're on a time crunch, you realize it's still great in the back here, you know what eggs are on. Go through those. Okay, any questions on this stuff? No, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So, okay. One thing that's missing from these are the internal cooking temperatures and some of the sanitation stuff. So I'll just explain that to you. And then I'll get to the recipes as well. Well, these are the recipes. Now, have you guys used these at all yet? You guys try to use?
We've tried all throughout the week. I
Okay.
think you used it yesterday, didn't you?
Wow.
The recipes.
Yeah, I use it.
Recipes? Yeah, did you have a hard time
I
understanding?
was kind of figured. I told her I wasn't, you know, trained, so I was just going through everything I was on here.
Okay.
Just putting it together.
Yeah, we're trying to make this as self-explanatory as possible, where it's easy, but the program that I use to print all this stuff is for people that are trained in the kitchen. So it might be a little confusing at first, and if you do have problems like reading them as we're going through this process, make sure you write down notes and let us know, because I can always just make like a shorthand copy myself. Like, you know, so like here has grill method, different methods just to do like your normal scrambled eggs. So, you know, you think we typically in a pan, this might tell you how to do it like in an oven or something like that. So if you'd rather do it a different way, I can always write something else out for you. So with the grill method for scrambled eggs, obviously we'll just tell you, like I kind of highlighted what would probably be the easiest for you. Let's see if there's another one. So baked chicken parm with linguine. Like if you have, this goes through the steps. Going on, all your ingredients are up top right here. You guys know not to keep any leftovers, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so whatever is left over, you always throw away. We're not doing any of that stuff here. So as far as cooking stuff, I got a bunch of thermometers here for everybody. One thing before you do, cook anything, always make sure the thermometer is correct as far as, so the best way to do that is take a little bit of ice and water. See how the little tip on this is skinny? So that's where you're going to want to use this to take your most accurate temperature. So it's right at the very point. So make sure you're properly calibrated. You stick this right in here, and it should be at 32 degrees.
For how many minutes?
Well, it should until it stops moving around.
Okay.
So right now, it's at 31.5 degrees. That means that the thermometer, the digital is off a little bit, but it's okay. It has to be plus or minus 1 degree. So it can be anywhere from 31 to 33 degrees, and that's accurate enough. If it's anything outside of that, the best way to recalibrate is to take this little cover off, and there's a little thing like right on the bottom of this, and you keep on hitting that until it gets right to your little accurate spot. There's another one over there I can show you how to do later. So minimal cooking temperatures. I'll get the sheets in this as well. So for chicken, it's 165. Same if you're doing a baked chicken breast or anything chicken related, like fried chicken or chicken fingers or anything like that. you have to make sure when you temp it that it's at 165. So ground beef, you know, at the very, very least, it has to be 155, or if you're doing like a beef roast or something like that. A lot of these things that we are going to be sending over off these menus shouldn't be that complicated to it. You're never need a giant roast for 12 people. The menu's not set up that way. But if you do need to temp stuff, I'll have a cheat sheet in the back of this. They'll have, you know, like your pork is 145, same with your fish. Like you're doing tilapia for tonight, it has to be, when you go to temp, it has to be at least 145 degrees. Make sure it's safe to serve. Okay, so that way, so see that you're all cooled out.
No.
So yeah, and another thing, actually, as I'm looking at this, you never want to thaw things out by just leaving them out. That's unsafe as well. If you're going to thaw it out like that, it has to be running under cold water or in the refrigerator. Okay, as far as thawing out any frozen fish, frozen chicken, frozen anything. You know, I know a lot of people like to just like, okay, well, I'm having chicken. When people do this at home too. You know, you go home like, I'm gonna have chicken tonight. You take it out of the freezer, leave it in the sink till you get home later that night. It's not a very safe idea.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, chances are it's not going to hurt you, but as far as like serve-safe food service stuff goes, you always want to make sure you're doing it in refrigeration or
Put
under
it in
cold
water,
water. Yeah, under cold running water until it's thawed out, then you're okay. It helps keep fish from bacteria growing and things like that, because there's danger zones. That's a little more complicated, and I actually also, when I have the cheat sheets in the back for that stuff, it'll go through that if you're more interested in learning about that. See, there you go. That's the whole point. So, any questions with these recipes before I go on with anything else?
No. I think it's you know, you can read through it and tell you what to do.
Yeah, but if you do have a hard time like with certain things reading through these, you know, contact us, let us know, and I'll make sure to try to simplify it. Or say like this, you know, this is the first time you guys are running through these menus, like we've done them a bunch for the kitchen and all that stuff. Another thing, Miller B over here is working off the same exact menu, except for we usually cook it for them.
Okay.
So if you guys have any questions about what it's supposed to look like, or how it's be like Rosie is my employee that does this stuff, you can always go over and check with them, make sure you're making it correctly as well.
And basically, anyone can use this, right? Even if you're
Yeah.
not cook.
Yeah. I know, not everybody, I know it's tough for you guys because you're not like real, you know.
I was asking with somebody else.
All right, fair enough. So, okay, so then that's that. So, and also too, like measuring cups, like everything that's on this, there's not going to be any number or anything anywhere that you're not going to have the equipment for. So, also too, with as far as like the sanitation and cross-contamination stuff goes, I'm going to get you, they're coming into, there's color-coded cutting boards. So there's going to be yellow, white, or not yellow. There's going to be red, white, and green. So green is for all your produce, all your vegetables, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, like lettuce. That's going to be green. White is going to be for your ready-to-eat foods. So if you're like, it's all cooked, ready to go, and you want to chop it up for like your mechanical sauce, you're going to use a white cutting board. Okay, and then red is going to be for all your raw. So, is that?
Meat,
Yeah, so all
fish.
yeah, fish, chicken, all that stuff. It's going to be on the red cutting boards. Yeah, I'll have those. They'll be over next week at some point as well. We'll just kind of got backed up when I ordered this stuff. So, also for that, that's going to be the way you're going to look to store food. So I'm not sure who's going to be here to put the stuff away Mondays and Thursdays instead of just Thursdays. We'll have the bins dropped off. So when you're storing stuff in the refrigerator, think about like the minimal cooking temperatures. So with chicken, you have to heat that up the highest in order to make sure that it's a safe product. So when you're putting it in the refrigerator, think like, you know, ready-to-eat foods on the very top, and then minimal cooking temperatures as you go. So like fish and pork, you know, takes the lowest temperature, where vegetables take the lowest temperature to cook. So you want them above where the chicken is. You want chicken on the bottom, especially raw chicken. So just always kind of think about that when if you're like storing stuff in there or putting the order away. Always make sure that it's kind of staggered that way, because you don't want chicken like if there's a tear in the bag, you can see where it's falling out, it's dripping down onto the produce, that produce is now contaminated. It's not able to eat. Make sense? Okay. Also, too, labeling and dating. I got this up here. So from now on, everything that comes into this kitchen, if you are here, if you're putting stuff away, I just dropped a whole thing of markers. I don't care if it's spices, if it's peanut butter, if it's a bottle of water, or whatever it is. When the state comes, everything has to have a date. Okay, even though, like, say, peanut butter will say it's good until, say next year on here. Once it's opened, or whatever, that changes. So, always put a date on everything. I went through and dated and stuff.
The day you open it.
Well, the day that it comes into this
Oh.
house.
Okay.
So everything, as you're putting it away, like say you're putting away like the food order, like you ordered it from Giant or whatever, or like your other stuff, I'll try to make sure that it's always done on my side, but for some reason, if like I have someone else doing it and they miss it, mistakes happen, always make sure it gets a date on it. When the state comes, they look for that. Even though it's just a residential, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, with the date on it, how long do we have until?
Well, with spices, you have a year.
Okay.
Okay,
So do we still go by the exact expiration date on the item, or?
yeah, for spices and stuff like that, yeah. Typically, if you have any kind of, like, say, if I brought chicken in here, okay, you only use 12 pieces, there's 15 for whatever reason, you have 3 days. Always
Okay.
use the number 3 as a rule of thumb. You're not supposed to keep leftovers, but for some reason, if someone does, you have 3 days from that date to use that, or because you buy it. But spices and stuff like peanut butter,
Okay.
the normal staples, that's fine to leave it until the actual
Got
thing, for all your different items, okay? Same thing with produce, even though it doesn't look good, like 3 days, you typically, and that's the whole thing why I'm doing Mondays and Thursdays instead of just Thursday deliveries, is that way things aren't running into, like say, like, there's another extra delivery, someone's just putting stuff in the fridge without rotating it, that date will make sure that it's not being used past when it's supposed to. Okay?
So that is important for first in, first out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, FIFO. Yeah. So, exactly. So that way, make sure we're using the correct products. Say if like I drop off tomatoes, like cherry tomatoes on Monday, and then drop them off again on Thursday because of what's on the menu. That way, you know that you're using these ones before these ones. It's the same product. Okay. Even though it might look good, it could be bad on the inside. Potentially get someone sick, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So, and that's what the state wants to see, and it makes everybody happy all the way around. So, okay. Any questions on any of that stuff?
Pretty clear.
Okay.